Okay, Big John, out here at the Bellator weigh-in. What do you think of this? Because when you started, we were having rules meetings and people were saying don't hit people with clenched fists. Now,
only once.
Now we got cameras live streaming. We're doing stuff on the YouTube. What do you think about all this, baby?
It's the way it's supposed to be.
Deal.
It's the way it's supposed to be.
Did you think back UFC 2 that we were going to have all of this at some point? That somebody would have said, "Hey, we're finally going to just let this be a sport," and it's a sport now.
Well, I mean, in the beginning, I always believed in the sport. I never, did I think it would have, 55 or 56,000 people in an arena to watch it? 91,000 back in Japan? No. I never thought it was going to be that. But I always thought, if given the chance, people were going to fall in love with it. And they were going to love what the fighters did. It's finally happened.
Now, with all this competition out here, we got UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, all this stuff. Is it too much MMA? Is it going to be like boxing in the 80s where people are like, I'm sick and tired of watching boxing? Or is MMA just never going to get to that?
I honestly look at it, it's a matter of promoters, be they the UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, Victory, whoever it's going to be. They just have to put on fights that people want to see. You can put the two best fighters there are that no one really knows of, or they don't are not enthralled by their persona, the way they fight, and no one's going to watch. But if you put on good fights, you put on entertaining fights, people are always going to watch.
Now, watching some of these fights that you rep, how hard is it when you get in there and like for instance with Dada and Kimbo? They are street fighters, thugs, whatever you want to call them. Are you worried about, are they going to stop when I say it's time to go? Or?
No.
Have we gotten past the John Hess and Tank Abbott way of doing things?
I never even thought about
and
John
yes,
Hess.
John Hess.
There you go. That's going backwards. There you go. You know what? It's a different world now. And, I don't worry about that. They come in and they're trying to fight MMA. They know what they're doing as far as what they're getting themselves into, and they follow the rules. They follow what I say, or they're going to end up being taken out of the fight. So that's their choice. But I don't have problems with the fighters. If people meet the fighters, they'll figure out, they're all good guys. They get into a cage and they do something in a competitive fashion. That doesn't mean that they're a mean person all the time.
Now, what fights are you repping tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Assignment yet?
No idea.
No idea?
Nope.
You're just going to show up and do your thing?
Show up and they'll tell me tomorrow, and that's fine. That's what it's about.
So with Bellator, and they have the big entrances, and they do all the cool stuff, and then UFC's got the boxing like entrances. What do you like the spectacle part of it, or does that even matter?
No, I do like.
You've been in this since UFC 2. So.
I've been there since UFC 1.
Well,
but,
it's a matter of. I wish they would have let you rep UFC 1.
It's a matter
we're going to get into that here in just a second.
When you look at it, the old Pride shows and what Ryzen is doing now, when you look at the production that is put in that, it's fantastic for especially the fan that pays for that seat and is at the arena, because they get an experience that you have to be there to do it. The UFC has done it. When they had the Chad Mendes versus Conor McGregor fight, they had Sinead O'Connor coming up. What they did there, it was electric in how it was. It was, it's a show. It's great. What Bellator does now with, the Dynamite shows and their tent poles, it's awesome. When those screens are going, it adds to the entire element of the fights. It adds to the atmosphere. When you get an electric atmosphere, usually that helps the fighters and everything. So it's all good.
Now, what did you think of the Hoist Shamrock? Not the fight, the debacle afterward. All these internet people. We didn't have that back in UFC 1 and UFC 2.
A little bit different. But you know what? It was, they went out there and they did what they did, and there's going to be people that think that Ken is complaining for nothing. There's going to be people that side with him and say he got hit in the groin, and that's for people to decide. I'm not here to even worry about it. I didn't do the fight. I don't have to worry about it.
Now, before I let you go, tell me about your podcast.
My podcast.
I listen to it every week. You're doing all sorts of things on there every week. Talk about something.
Well, the whole thing with my podcast is really, I think we try to talk about things that are not the norm. We talk about, obviously, MMA. We also talk about boxing a lot. And the whole thing is we talk about things that most people don't understand. They don't understand the rules. We let them ask questions so we can clarify things, so we get people so they understand the sport better. I want them to understand exactly what the fighters are allowed to do, why the referee's going to do certain things at a certain time. That's all good, because the more you educate the fans, the more they understand what's going on and the more comfortable they are with everything. So the podcast is Let's Get It On. It's with Sean Wheelock, who's a commentator for ONE FC and Victory.
Yep.
Used to be with Bellator, and you know what? It's a fun show. I enjoy doing it, so we're going to keep doing it.
Okay, one final question.
Yep.
And this goes all the way back to all your experience and everything like that. Is Brock Lesnar the greatest combat athlete right now? Or
I gotta go.
Likewise. All right. Hello, everybody. 95.9 FM, KSUN Radio, Wichita, Kansas, the Full Court Press. I am your host, Andrew Duncan. You guys are checking me out live. Don't forget, you can also check out the Facebook fan page, the Full Court Press. You can also check me out on Twitter at Andrew Duncan83. You can also check out the website, thefullcourtpress.wix.com/the Full Court Press. That's a mouthful. Say that 10 times fast. All right, we're still here at Bellator at Kansas Star Casino Arena, Mulvane, Kansas, and right now I have with me one of the originators. Great to have him with us in MMA.
What he's saying is I'm old. He's right.
All right, you know what? A guy who's been around as long as you have, what is one of the great things in terms of the way that the business has begun to transition? What has been, you think, your favorite aspect of it, and what do you think has been your least favorite aspect of it?
Oh my God, for me, the favorite thing that's been there for me is people now appreciate